Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Elevated Beauty Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Fouts, and today's episode is going to be about putting the personality in your business. This is something I'm really passionate about, and I think in order to achieve good success, that you do need to learn how to put your personality in your business. There's a lot of different things that you can consider when going through that and finding yourself and having a clear self-image. But today we are going to be talking about personality types, and I'm going to share with you guys my own personality type and some tips from a book that I recently read on this that can help you to do so and let your personality shine through to achieve that fascination factor with your guest. So first, I'm going to go over my primary archetype, personality type, and there are different categories within the different archetypes. I believe it's power, mystique, prestige, alert, trust, and there might be something else, but my primary personality type is under the prestige category. So prestige is a lot about, and maybe the archetype particularly is about excellence. So I'm skillful, restrained, polished, meticulous, and I like to display my knowledge with, factual information. I like to impress people with my education. So some key points that this book gave me is that what I can do is paint more vivid pictures of how products can help people and express more enthusiasm, because again, I'm very factual, and some people might appreciate that, but I think different people communicate other ways. So since I'm very polished, meticulous, refined, like all this stuff, it benefits me to be more enthusiastic instead of so just like 1, 2, 3, 4 about all of this different stuff. So that's some tips that it gave me. Some other things is that for the architect, that personality type under the prestige category, is that I can impress with higher goals, and I like to try to do that. And verbally recognize other people's contributions. That's something that is actually kind of funny, because whenever you're trying to find out your archetype, there are some things that you might not want to admit about yourself, but I do have an issue verbally recognizing other people. It's something that I've had to work on, because I'm very much in my head and I'm like, oh, they know that I appreciate them. But a lot of times people need you to say it. So that's a reminder for me that I need to verbally recognize other people's contributions. Highlighting how products will improve the quality of life or help people reach a goal. And I can use admiration to raise the value of myself and my company. So those are all things that I try to do. There's so much more that you could probably find out on your own specific archetype, so I definitely recommend taking the Myers-Briggs test. But my secondary archetype is the Royal Guard, and this is under the, mystique category. So the Royal Guard is elegant, astute, discreet, particular, and measured. And so they're all about listening, very conscious and dedicated. And some tips that they gave me on this particular part of myself is to listen to concerns before offering information. And I feel like I've done a lot of self-help in the past few years, so a lot of this stuff that it was giving me tips on, I already actually practice. So when someone comes in, instead of me being like, I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to look at your skin and tell you what you need. Like, I've never taken that approach. So I always ask people what their goals are. And so that's a part of like listening to concerns before offering information. So I always ask everyone what their skincare goals are, and then we take it from there. And then asking questions to understand underlying issues. And so this secondary type is very, reserved and like in your head, and that's a big part of me. But whenever I am putting on my, work face, I try to get out of my shell there, and you definitely have to be less in your head when you're working with clients. So if you're familiar with the archetypes, I'm the architect and the royal guard under the prestige and then the mystique category. So besides those individual ones that I found for myself, just some general tips that they gave me, I'll read here. So the greatest value you can add is to become more of yourself. And I totally agree with that. And you guys have probably heard me talk about another book that I read like a year or two ago, Louder Than Words by Todd Henry. He's all about finding your true self and your authentic voice. And that's a big part of finding your own self-image and your identity as a business, is to know who you are and add parts of yourself into your business. That way that you don't get burned out. So I couldn't imagine just masking 24/7. So that's one of the best values that you can do for you and your guest, is to become more of yourself. Because why would you want to go to work every day and put on a mask? And then, that would be so exhausting. So to continue, you won't make a difference by being quiet and, like being in your head. That was something for me. You're not going to make a difference by assuming people know things, by being quiet. You have to make noise. You have to let people know you're there. To become more successful, don't change who you are, but become more of yourself. So whenever you are trying to find your identity in your career, you might find people that you aspire to be more like. So these are your heroes, or these are people that you are, what's the word I'm looking for? In Todd Henry's book, he uses a word, it's like a phase, emulation phase. There are people that you might emulate for a moment, that you might appreciate certain things from, but you don't want to emulate anyone so much that you're like losing yourself and you're trying to become them. You need to become yourself. And by admiring other people, you might find things that are similar that you have in common with them. But you don't need to change who you are. You don't need to become more like someone else. You just need to become more of you. Find whatever it is that makes you tick and what makes you happy, and then roll that all up into a ball and put a pretty bow on it, and that's you. So another one is stand out or don't bother. Clients come to you because you're extraordinary. Again, like, people come to you because of you, like who you are. A lot of the times, like, they'll like your services, but you're not going to continue to come back to someone if you don't like their personality. So another is you'll never reach your greatest potential by being all things to all people. And that's something I had to learn in terms of like niching down. So I was not able to reach my greatest potential by doing all of these different things. I wasn't being recognized as the best Brazilian wax in town, or the girl who gives amazing advanced skincare treatments and like changed my skin. So I had to reduce some of those things that I didn't want to be, that I wasn't an expert in. So I really resonate with that one. 100% yourself trumps 100% perfect. No one is 100% perfect. The best you can do is be the best version of you, basically. So you don't learn how to be fascinating, you unlearn how to be boring. So finding your archetype, it really helps you learn how you can use your personality to your advantage to fascinate your guest. So for me, I mentioned this before, I can use admiration to raise the value of myself and my company. And because I am very factual and I use my education, I'm very prideful of my education, I can use that to highlight how products will improve the quality of their life or reach a goal. So, you don't learn how to be fascinating, but you just learn how to use what you already have to fascinate. You unlearn how to be boring by learning more about yourself, if that makes sense. When you let personality shine, you can light up the world. So have you ever met this person that you just admire them so much because they're just so authentic? And I don't know, there's just something about them that really shines, and it's like they're living their best life. I personally feel like that's because people are 100% their self. They know their personality and they accept it, and they're not trying to be something else. They know who they are and they've accepted it, and they're just 100% them. So when you learn more about yourself and you're okay with your personality and you let it shine, that really, it helps you in the bigger picture of things. Your personality is the greatest differentiator you have. And again, you don't want to be somebody else. There are people that I admire still and admire things about them, and in my head I'm like, ooh, I wish I did. Wouldn't it be cool if I did something like that? But that's not me. I can find things about that I like and then make it my own. But your personality is the greatest differentiator you have. So, and people will recognize that. They'll appreciate that about you. And it makes you memorable. The most powerful way to empower someone is to show them their own highest value. I think that was a very, very helpful tip. I feel like the business that I'm in is a lot about empowerment, and a lot of people come to see me when they are insecure, and I feel like I'm always boosting people up. For example, I have a guest that I just saw this morning in her 70s, and she honestly, for her, she has beautiful skin. She has, we age naturally. It's just a part of the process. So no, she doesn't have skin like a 20-year-old, but she's not supposed to. She has beautiful skin, and she's always a little bit critical of herself, but every time I see her, I tell her, you have beautiful skin, and your skin feels amazing, and it really does. So I try to empower people that way and show them their own value, and people carry that with them. Words carry a lot of weight. So when you help to empower someone, that creates a connection. And just notice the value in people and highlight it to them. Whenever I see someone that's being critical, I look at them and I see something about them, and I'm like, well, your skin is actually looking really great. Or you have wonderful eyebrows. Someone might complain about their eyebrows are too bushy, and I'm like, no, people would die to have eyebrows like you. So I just really like that one. The most powerful way to empower someone is to show them their highest value. And this is the last one. The world is not changed by people who sort of care. And that's something else that I really resonated with. And this is in terms of, I think it said you won't change the world. The world isn't changed by some people who sort of care. So it's not about changing the world, but you're not going to make a mark by sort of caring. That's kind of what I translate it to be. There are a lot of estheticians out here that sort of care, and they're not putting their all into their business. They're just doing it because they went to school to get licensed, and maybe they're not super passionate about it. I don't know what's happening, but they're not putting their all into it. And guess what? They're not making a mark. They're getting bad reviews, unfortunately. Their business doesn't sustain itself because they only sort of care. So to me, do something 100% or don't do it at all. And it's hard for me to understand why people would start a business and only sort of care. I don't know. But yeah, just keep that in mind, that if you want to make a mark, you're going to care and you're going to put your all into it. And if you're not putting your all into it because maybe you're down about something's happening in your life and your business, your career isn't your priority, you need to take some time to heal yourself, find yourself, and then come back to the board and, like, if this is really what you want to do, then you be passionate about it. Do everything you can to make sure that you succeed, your business succeeds, your clients succeed. Everyone feels great when they're coming into your space. Yeah, take pride in yourself. So those are all the notes that I have from that book in particular, but just talking a little bit more about putting the personality into your business. Of course, I've said this before, your business is not your only vocation. Like, your identity alone and your identity as a business are two separate things. But your identity as a business should reflect some of your own personality traits. So for me, my business, it very much reflects excellence. I don't want to show anything other than excellence. Like, when you come in my room, you see a gallery wall with before and afters. So I want people to know that they're taken care of when they're in here. They're receiving quality. And yeah, that's a part of my personality type. But I'm also, there are parts of my own, self that are not all very, buttoned up like that. I like to have fun. I like to make jokes. I like to, I don't know. Everyone has certain things about them. Like, okay, I love ghost adventures. I love true crime. But I'm not going to be listening to a true crime podcast when you come in here and receive a service. You know what I mean? So there are some things about me, my own personal self, that I don't carry into the identity of my business. But I'm not a different person whenever I'm in here. I still will, if I receive that that's the type of person my client is, if we happen to be talking about ghosts, then I'll talk about a Ghost Adventures episode, or I'll talk about like this haunted thing or something. So my clients still see like most all sides of me. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of make it I wanted to make it a point that your business is not your only vocation. Like, your business can be its own identity, and you can bleed some of your own personality into there, because if you don't, you're going to get burnt out and it's not you. You're going to be masking, but your business is not your identity. So I'm able to separate myself. Some things that you can do to bring the personality into your business is obviously just to incorporate things that you like. So in my room, I have some little bronze wall decor. It's like 1980s, like those little golden butterflies. Then I have 2 candle holder sconces. And so that's kind of a part of me that I really like antiquing. I like thrifting. And so I brought some of that in there. And then I love to paint. So my focus wall, it has my sign on there that says Elevated Beauty with LED lights, and I put some dried flowers on the side. So I like to be creative. So I made those dried flower arrangements, and I actually painted my own sign. So that's like a part of me that I'm bringing in here as well. I like to decorate. So I get a lot of compliments on the decor in my room, and yeah, just like little pieces of me like that. And then I am a little bit of an eclectic person, so I dress however I want to, really. I don't have scrubs that I wear to work. I know a lot of people do, and that's okay if you do. I'm not saying that if you do wear scrubs that you're taking your personality away from your business. For some people, they don't want to contemplate on what they want to wear, so it's easy for them to do scrubs. But for me, I have fun with the creativeness of what am I going to wear today? What's my vibe going to be today? And, it's kind of, I like fashion. I'm not like the most fashionable person, I wouldn't say, but I like to look cute. And some days when I'm feeling cute, I want to dress cute. And so, yeah, that's, I guess, another part of my personality that I bring into my business is, the clothes that I wear. So if you do already know your personality type, that'll help you out. You can do more research on it. If not, take the Myers-Briggs test and then figure out what you can use to your advantage to fascinate your guest. And, and how you can maybe do some things if you feel like your personality isn't very intertwined with your business, if you feel like it's kind of a separate identity from yourself, maybe that can help you to discover what you can do to create a little bit more of a connection and comfort with your business identity by kind of meshing the two. As always, thank you guys so much for listening, and I'll see you next Monday, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time for another episode.